Hello, hello. Welcome back to Lotus Chat Worldwide. And today, after a few weeks, we are back with Jen today. Say hello, Jen.
Hi, everyone.
So today we decided to try something new just because technically we're not supported today. So something's not quite working, technical reasons, and hence we thought we could explore something new and do it podcast style. So we're going to jump right in. And today we're going to talk about episode 82, how and when to ask for support. So I'm pretty sure it's an interesting topic out there for anyone who's listening right now. You're wondering whether, is support important? How should I ask? When should I even ask for support? And stuff like that. So Jen, let's bring us in. Tell us what you think about how to ask for support, or maybe let's start from the beginning. Like what is asking for support?
Ooh, great questions, Ian. And I'm glad that we're starting with that question because, how, in like the definition of support, like the definition of support itself is to be able to open oneself up to being almost vulnerable in a way by being able to approach somebody and or ask someone if they need support. And it even comes to ourselves, like how can we actually be open to receiving support as well as giving it? So it comes down to the fact that support is really allowing yourself to be open to the possibility of having someone be able to assist you and or actively listen to you, because there's a difference between listening and active listening. And I feel that once you're able to be open to it, then it comes down to you also being able to give that as well, to others. So it's kind of like that, famous saying of like, you give back. You're able to just feel comfortable in asking and giving support. And that's ultimately where I feel we should all aim for and or work towards, because I feel a lot of us find it difficult sometimes to open up and to be vulnerable and to even consider being a support system and or receiving support, because we live in such an independent society. What do you think, Cian, about that? Like, do you feel like sometimes the society around us calls us to be way more independent and self-sufficient, where we do not feel comfortable asking for support?
Totally, totally. I definitely have situations where I need support and I feel like I want some support or any form of help or support would be great, but I hesitate to ask. And now that we're talking about this, I kind of wonder, why did I hesitate to ask for, even support? And it's strange because in the trainings that I do with Lawrence Water seminars, we actually talk a lot about the idea of support. But from the angle of supporting team members by saying the word, I support you, like literally saying that, because a lot of people, they support each other, but they keep it in the heart or
Mm.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
actually verbally voice out and say, hey, I support you. And now that
Oh,
we're
wow.
going
I
deep,
love that.
yeah, going deeper into this, I do wonder, like, when we need support, why do I hesitate to ask for support? I think while I'm thinking about this, for me, maybe sometimes it comes across as maybe I'm weak or I need help. And maybe that ego in me goes like, no, I can do this. I know how to do this. I'm okay. And I can multitask. I think that's that ego in me stopping myself from asking for support. But definitely, when the ego is down, I think anyone and myself especially, I need support. And support comes in different formats. It can come in emotional support. It can come in the form of physical support. It can come in verbal support. So I think what is important is to be able to ask for support and to be able to articulate that support specific in that specific manner that you want, because otherwise you end up being disappointed. I asked for support and I didn't get any. Well, did you
Mhm.
ask what specific support you want?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
so I think
I
I think yeah, so I think even going into the details, like, I'm literally saying I am requesting for support in form
ooh.
of would you hear me out for 10 minutes? I need support by you hearing me out and just, hearing my thoughts, or I need support by you helping me to do this task in the next 30 minutes.
Oh, I love that. The fact that you really honed in on the kinds of support that we can
Mm,
offer someone, because not everybody is akin to a specific, your type of way of receiving support. And this comes down
right.
also to, we have a wonderful episode, I'm sure many of you may have heard of, within our Lotus Chat channel called all about the love languages. What's love got to do with it, right? And we go through all
Yes,
the different ways that somebody can receive and give love. And I feel that when you really think about it, not everybody is, like I said, the same as you. And in that sense, when you ask the way that you just posed right now, Zian, about
right.
saying, I would like support in this way. So like for me, the way that I know I like receiving support is both through, action and through word. Like I like to hear somebody say, I support you, or I'm here for you, or
Mm,
I've got this, don't worry about it. And I like that physical touch, that hug, or that, just arm around the shoulder, or the eye contact telling me they are there for me to support me, or stepping in when they can see that I am having, a challenge, or that I'm feeling tired, or that I'm feeling very much in my emotions in the moment, to know to have those two types of support around me help
yeah,
me. But I know that I've been in situations with others where their whole form of asking for support and or asking, like, again, love language is different than mine. So when I
yeah,
approach them in the same way, it becomes this disconnect. And I do feel sometimes it becomes difficult for the person to open up and be vulnerable, because I am almost thinking like, oh, well, maybe, why aren't they being verbal about it? Or why aren't they being, totally open and like physically saying, like, hey, I need support? Because sometimes not everybody is, the same as myself. So then you have to make sure that you're open to the
mhm,
possibility and ask them, how would you like me to support you in this moment? What would you like me to do? How would you like me to be there for you? So it really comes down to asking that very important question. Now, Zian, that takes me to another question, because we just mentioned like relationships, right? And
yeah,
we mentioned the fact that it can be in any type of relationship, work, family,
mm.
significant other, friendships. What is, for example, one instance where you effectively used what you just, stated for us, the right way and how to ask for and give support? What was like one instance?
There are so many, but I think I want to share about one that just literally just happened. I think when you told me about, this title, doing how and when to ask for support, it kind of got me thinking, like, do I ask for support and how do I ask for support? So you kind of struck a chord in there. And then actually yesterday, I was doing a talk at Wyndham Hotel and I met this um, nice guy from Help University, one of the universities, and I was checking out on his website and looking at his beautiful campus, and I noticed a media studio. So I thought, hey, I need help with my other Mental Warrior podcast, and I have to admit it has been inconsistent because I just don't have the time and someone leading the project. So I reached out for support.
That's
I just
perfect.
met him yesterday. I thought, what the heck? I'm just gonna try. I just dropped him a message. He hasn't responded, of course. But I asked for support if he knows anyone or any student that might be interested to take that Mentor Warrior podcast as part of their internship project. So,
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So, like
yeah.
a very real example of you being, you know, again, just in that state of, again, what we're talking about, giving and asking for support, right?
Yes.
But I
Yes.
love that you also started your example of like how you felt really like triggered in a way about, well, why don't I ask for support? Or what stops me from asking
Mm,
for support?
mm.
And I think a lot of us out there can relate to that
Yes,
because of the
definitely.
fact that we are all taught, like, hey, you can handle this on your own.
Correct.
Or,
Yes.
hey, you're a big, girl or a big boy, or you can get through this. And, you don't need, blah, blah, blah. You know what to do. Like, you've got all the tools in your toolbox. That's a famous line that I
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
my parents always told me. You've got all the tools in your toolbox, so you can go ahead and, figure it out. And but the great thing that I remember growing up is that while I had the toolbox to find solutions to problems in my life, I was always told by my, support system. And again, for all of you out there, your support system can be your family, it can be a friend, it could be a counselor, it could be a therapist, whoever it is who can
Yep.
walk you through to a solution. They're always there for you. And I like that my support system always would tell me, Jen, you don't have to do it all alone. And it was the constant reminder to me
Mm,
of, yeah, I am not alone, because I will give you all a very big example. And I'm sure many of you may be able to relate to this. There are
yes.
times in your life where you are actually faced with multiple things, one thing after another, where you just are asking for a break, where it could be like, a family emergency, and it's like back to back family emergencies, or back to back challenges, or back to back,
Mm,
moments where you're like, why? Like, why is this happening again? And for me, I've had those years recently where I really did feel as though everything just kept happening over and over again. And in that sense, I felt like, of course, being the oldest the oldest grandchild, the oldest child in my family, I felt like I had to always step up to provide support to my family, to help them through, to find solutions, to get us on the other side of things, and to make sure that everybody knew things were going to be okay. That's basically the type of role that I felt I'd taken on. And in that whole span of time, there were moments where I did feel, I would say, alone. But
mm,
again, Deanne, we go back to the question, why did I feel alone? Why
mm,
didn't I feel like I could ask for support? Because you hit the nail on the head when you said there is this part of me that felt like if I asked for support, I felt like either a little bit weak, or that I was letting people down because
yeah.
I was the strong one, right? I was
Mm,
the
mm,
one who was going to hold everybody up during these difficult times. And so, for anyone out there who could relate to that example, we go through it, yes, and we go through those emotions, but ask yourself, why am I afraid to ask for support? Is it because I feel others won't feel strong enough to get through something without me being the stronger of
mm.
the group? Or
Yep.
is it because I feel weak by admitting that my body, my mind, my emotions can't take anymore?
Mm. Wow.
And I,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I feel that in that, frame of mind that I was in, I realized that if and when I am in those situations again, which, life happens, things are going to get hard and difficult, and there will be hardships. Not everything is going to be perfect all the time.
Mm,
That to open yourself, as I said when I was explaining about to the vulnerability and the possibility that there
mm,
are people around you
mm,
who you just have to call or visit with, or text, or whatever form of communication you feel comfortable in. Because if you close yourself off like I did, it is a very lonely place to feel like, you
mm.
don't have support. And I have everybody reminding me all the time that I do. So don't put yourself in that lonely place that of feeling like you do not have people who are there for you. And it could be even, like I said, not your immediate family. It could be somebody at school. It could be somebody, that you've worked really closely with. But, finding that outlet is very important, I think, in this case. What do you think, Leanne?
Yes, definitely. So I think what it takes to ask for support is to be able to be vulnerable, to
Mm-hmm.
open your mouth and just ask for that support because, um, yeah, definitely, you don't want, it's always the ego that's stopping us that we don't want to appear or seem to like we're not handling this, or like we're not on top of it, or we seem, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
weak, like you say. So I think being vulnerable and just being willing to put ourselves out there and just ask for support because, like the example that I shared with you just now, I barely know this guy. I only met him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna, help or support me. And absolutely, he has every way to say no to that. And he has every reason to decline that. And I'm sure, if or when that happens, I think what's important is when we ask for support, we also cannot always expect a yes because sometimes it's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
no. And that's when, we don't create stories in our head thinking that, why is he not supporting me? Am I not good enough? Or does he think that, this is not worth helping or it's not worth his time? It's all these stories that we create in our mind that's kind of like preventing us to kind of ask for the next support or, move on to the next person that we know that could help in this area. So
Exactly,
yes,
Zian. You definitely make a really big point about the fact that not everybody's going to be able to offer the support that you need. When you approach somebody, it could be that somebody isn't, feels emotionally or physically not ready to offer it and or
yes,
isn't in that state of being open like you are. And that
yes,
comes down
correct.
to that statement of, like what I've heard about asking for support, where when you ask for support, be open to negotiation in terms of figuring out how much support, that you are looking for and how and asking that person, well, how much support can they really offer?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
again, you people meet you where they're at. And
yes.
also at the same time considerate of where that person's experiences may differ from yours. So let's say hypothetically you go in and you're asking for support and this person gives you a completely like whoa type of advice, and like you're like
Mm-hmm.
wow, like, and you may not necessarily agree with what they're saying. Be considerate, realizing that this person's experiences may be different from yours, but also remain open to the fact that maybe, hey, they're offering me a different perspective on how to get through what I'm going through, and appreciate that. Be in
Yeah,
gratitude of the experience of this person being willing to open up to you and provide, a piece of advice or support and whatnot, because not everybody is going to be open to that experience with you. It's very important.
yes. Fantastic. And so it brings us to, I guess, the next question, which is when do you, actually ask for support?
Yes. And I think we've kind of touched on a couple of instances for us in our lives when you can be open yourself to asking for support and receiving it, during difficult times where you are weighing options, for example, and you're having a difficult time deciding what is the best. Now, I usually, me usually start with a pro and con list. And if my
Mhm.
pro and con list is something where I just cannot decide, it's like a 50-50 on both sides, and I'm like, wow, this isn't going to help me one bit. I usually do go to like a friend or a family member and say, hey, I'm thinking of making a really big decision here. It's 50-50. I've put all my pros and cons. can you help me figure out which one I should go
Mm-mm.
with, right? So that's a very important one. And then, of course, when to ask for support is when you're going through a very emotionally just um time where you just feel like your body, your mind, your spirit, whatnot, cannot take anymore. It's so important because of the fact that many of us, and I will say this, can bury things and not be you know open to letting those things out. And the more and more you bury them, the harder it becomes to keep them in. And we do not want people to start getting to a point where they almost like, kind of, I'm going to use the word like their emotions just come out in such a way where then you lash out, or you end up having like a breakdown of sorts. We do not want
Mm.
anybody getting to that point. So it's very important when you start feeling like your body, mind, spirit cannot take anymore, to really reach out to somebody and talk through even if it's a therapist or a counselor, somebody that you feel is impartial. Very important. So that's
Mm.
another instance that I know, I know that it is very important to do.
Yes, fantastic. I love that.
How about you, Zian? What do you think are when should what are some primary times, or when are some primary times that somebody should ask for support?
I think a good kind of giveaway for yourself on when you should ask for support is when your body feels it. I think sometimes we think too much in our head, but then our body can kind of catch that signal. And when you feel that tense and that kind of slight pressure on your own body, I think that's when it should be like a good alert system to go like, hey, maybe I need to ask for support. And that's when I think you should reach out and ask for support. Because sometimes even just thinking that, hey, I need to ask for support, that itself, that idea is good enough to send out the right energy and frequency to attract the right people to come to your life to give you that support.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. And anyone out there who is here and has been a part of this whole journey with us, you know that we're really big in terms of making sure people know that they have a community out there. And that is why we've created this, forum, this channel, where you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. But I feel like creating your own and making that, something that you do on every day, whether it's checking in on somebody. And,
Mm.
because sometimes not everybody, it has gotten to that point where they want to ask for support and saying, hey, how are you doing? How's your day? What's up? Even those small actions are other ways that you can ask for support, even just by a text message or a call. So that's another thing that you can do that's just a really quick, like, I want to check in on, my aunt, or I want to check in with my friend. I just feel like we just need to really be aware and open to the fact that there people might not even be wanting to ask for it, but when they hear your voice say, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?" It could actually start a really great conversation and help somebody open up. So that's
Wow,
another thing that I want to put out there.
great.
But anyways, Ian, do you have any other, things that we can give to our viewers and our listeners out there? I know this is different that we're trying this time, doing a podcast style type of episode. Is there anything else?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank everybody out there on YouTube and listening to us on Spotify for being here and listening to this episode on how and when to ask for support. If it resonated with you, we would love to hear from you, whether it is, putting a comment down in the comment section below our YouTube, or even sending us a note on Spotify. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome. We do hope that you continue on the Lotus Chat Worldwide journey with us. So thank you all out there for your support. And we definitely will be back with another episode, and we will see you next time.
Fantastic. I'll see you all soon.
Yeah,
Bye.
take care, everyone. Bye.